Mr. President, I want to join my colleagues from Maryland and my friend, the Senator from Virginia as well, to speak out on this manufacturer crisis. This president, who is holding 800,000 federal workers hostage, folks who are going to work, some of them without pay, others who are furloughed, has been mentioned. This is not just affecting federal workers. Senator Kaine and I have been talked to by a number of contractors, small business owners, a couple of them who are closing their doors this week because they've now gone for weeks without being paid. You can't put a business back together after you've closed your doors. So the 800,000 federal employees, the contractors, but there are a whole slew of other folks who are already immediately affected. The complete lack of thought this administration did in this shutdown, where they tried to say, we're not going to make it seem like a shutdown, so we're going to leave the parks open. Now we see destruction going on our parks. We see in our state where Shenandoah National Park has got trash overfilling. We've got the battlefields where people have also had inappropriate activities. And we've seen as well a whole slew of businesses that depend upon a high volume of tourist travel during the holidays. None of that took place. Mr. President, I also wonder whether this Donald Trump, who says this is about security, well, if it's about security, we ought to make sure our Coast Guard is paid. We ought to make sure our TSA agents are paid. We're seeing dramatic numbers of folks calling in sick, dramatically reducing the ability to maintain security at our airports, where, frankly, most of our vulnerability on the border actually takes place. That's going to get exponentially worse after Friday when these employees go without a paycheck. The fact of the matter is, these workers don't work for Donald Trump. They work for America. And we, echoing what my colleague said, our first order of business ought to be making sure we get this government reopened. Final point I want to make is this. The heartlessness of this president and his comments about our federal workforce, that somehow they can manage through without a paycheck, somehow they can negotiate with their landlord if they can't pay their rent. Rather than Donald Trump putting on a political show tonight on TV and a political trip to the border tomorrow, I invite the president to come anywhere in Virginia, Maryland, or the district and sit down with federal employees and explain this crisis and why they're not getting paid. So my hope is that, echoing what our senators from Maryland have said, the Senate shouldn't be complicit in this. We need to reopen the government. We want to negotiate additional border security. I'm all for it, but not holding hostage literally our federal employees and countless others.